dire.
All right, then we'll jump in immediately.
Okay.
All right. Like right now. How about that? Welcome to Market Movers. That's what happens when you hit a wrong button. That's okay. It's a one-shot, Anita. Don't worry. We'll bring you in 2 seconds. Welcome to the show. Just like that. There she is. Anita Marks joining us on the program. That's what happens when you hit a wrong button. That's okay. Dan Koob, Anita Marks, obviously joining us as she does every single week. We have so much to get to. We really didn't even have time for a proper introduction because we have to talk about our NCAA futures draft from a week ago and the absolute futility that existed in this space that did not carry us through the weekend. But of course, we also have MLB starting up tomorrow. We've got some very interesting futures plays for you there. The Texas Open, the entree, or the appetizer rather, to the entree, which is the 2023 Masters Championship. Some NBA plays, but we have to start here, and that is because we have another Battle Bets coming up tomorrow at 2 o'clock with the folks from OddsJam. I will be here. Alex Kane will be right next to me, our founder and CEO, a 4-person mini bracket to determine who is the best live in-game baseball player, bettor rather. That, again, coming up tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Anita, how are you? Just a chock-full weekend of sports to lose money on.
Actually, I've been winning a lot of money on the NCAA tournament on Sporttrade. I don't know about you, Dan. So I've actually been doing extremely well. Unfortunately, I blew it on a Jokic over 25.5 points the other night against the 76ers. But that's a story for a whole nother show. I've actually done quite well in the NCAA tournament in bracket wise, which I know doesn't pertain to, what we discuss here, but I'm beating myself up. In one of my brackets, I'm in 3 or 4 pools. I can't remember. And if just in one of my brackets, I picked UConn to win it, I would have won all 4 brackets. Probably would have walked away with anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 in March. I'm beating myself up that not in one did I pick UConn to win the whole damn thing. I got them going to the Final Four. So therefore, I'm probably going to finish 2nd or 3rd in a lot of these pools. But man, I'm just beating myself up. They just have looked so good, Dan. So good. They're just steamrolling people. Right?
They are. They really are. People. They are. And I will tell you, in our office pool, not for any money, but in our office pool, I think of the 40 people or whoever participated, only one person has Connecticut winning the national championship. And they are the only person who has a team left to win the national championship. That is how poorly some of us have been picking games this year during the NCAA tournament. We'll recap very quickly, Anita, what our picks were. We had your team, Creighton, out. Tennessee, out. Houston, out. My team, Texas, out. Kansas State, out. Alabama, out. UCLA, out. UConn is the only team remaining, Anita, and we didn't even have 16 teams to choose from. We only had 15 because we can't bet on Princeton in the state of New Jersey. UConn, the only team left. They've gone from $9 when we last spoke last Wednesday prior to the Sweet 16 to $51.50, and they were the first overall pick. Nobody picked Florida Atlantic. Nobody picked Miami, although I did tell you to take them over Houston. And San Diego State, absolute afterthought.
So needless to say, I won.
If that's your takeaway, yeah, you won a 40-yard you won a 40-yard dash between 2 people with broken ankles.
Was at the end of the day who was going to buy the most profitable shares on Sporttrade. That was the game.
I won the NFL playoff bracket or NFL playoff futures challenge and never said a word. But no, that's fine. Lay it on me. Here are the 4 KenPom ratings for the remaining teams. Number 22. I actually would like you to guess these. So of the 4 remaining teams, here are how they slate into the KenPom. Number 22. Who do you think it is?
Out of the 4 remaining?
Yes.
So
it goes like 1 to 350 or whatever. 1 being the best. Who do you think is 22nd?
I'd say FAU.
It is Miami. Number 17, FAU. Number 14, San Diego State. The number 1 team in the KenPom rankings this season, your Connecticut Super Huskies. Perhaps not surprising then that they have been so dominant. Of course, the Final Four taking place Saturday and Monday, the national championship, and on Sporttrade, you can trade both of these games at your will. We'll start with Florida Atlantic and San Diego State, Anita. The Owls at $45 per share to win outright. San Diego State at $56.5. One of these schools is going to play for a national championship. Not sure who would have thought that 3 weeks ago. SDSU, a 1.5 point favorite at 53.5. FAU plus 1.5 at 48. The total is 131.5. The over is available at 51.5 per share. The under at $49.50 per share. Anita Marks, how do you line up the first national semifinal?
Yeah, listen, if you truly believe that defense wins championships, right? Like, this is for you. So I'm on San Diego State here. I'll take San Diego straight up. I'll also buy them. What is it, lane 2? What do you have there?
We've got San Diego State at minus 1.5 at 53.5. It's on your screen right now. We also have them available at minus 8.5 at 26.5 if you're feeling feisty.
I know. I do the 1.5. I wouldn't do the 8.5. Also, what's the under here? I like the under at 131. Where do you have it coming in?
Even 49.5 plus 100.
The under?
Yep.
So a few things. As we know, San Diego State, they've won 14 of their last 15. They've got a top 5 offense, or I should say top 5 defense in college basketball. Teams are only averaging 56 points for the entire season. Opponents are against them. In the tournament alone, teams are averaging 65 points or less. Here's the stat that really blew me away, Dan. This is a San Diego State. This is an Aztecs defense that held combined Alabama and Creighton to 3 3-pointers. Creighton went 2 of 17 from behind the arc. So FAU, they rely on the 3-pointers. They are a 3-point shooting team. That's how they stay lockstep. What I'm going to find interesting here is they are playing it in RG Stadium. So what happens if anybody has played basketball before? You play in,
unfamiliar gym, right? Depth perception, all the whole thing.
You play for a gym. Now you go and you play in a football stadium. Now you've got that depth perception that's really going to be screwing with you. I think that might play in the hands of San Diego State as well. I love their head coach. FAU, top 20 defense and defensive efficiency, but Bama was 3rd, Creighton was 14th, and Trammell and the San Diego State Aztecs were able to do enough to beat them. So I think I like San Diego State here. I think they win. I think they advance, and I also like the under. That's how I'm playing this matchup.
Very, very balanced team, that San Diego State basketball squad. I mean, I think they have 3 players who average over 10 points, but nobody over 13, I want to say. So they've got a ton of people who can attack in a ton of different ways. Defensively, you're right. I mean, they are a better team in my estimation when I look at the resumes between Florida Atlantic and San Diego State. Objectively, I think the Aztecs are better. I think both teams have frankly gotten lucky in the tournament. And by that, I mean Florida Atlantic got to avoid Purdue. San Diego State avoided Virginia in a game that would have been really interesting. Maybe a game that scores 60 points total between the two teams. FAU has beaten Memphis, Fairleigh Dickinson, Tennessee, and Kansas State. SDSU has beaten the College of Charleston, who I actually really liked, Furman, Alabama, and Creighton. There is just like an undeniable spunk to this Owls team. And maybe I'm just feeling like some Owl synergy because I went to Temple. This is a vibes only pick. In my heart of hearts, I feel like San Diego State probably wins this outright. And again, they're available at $56.50 per share. That's minus 133. I'm just going to say, for the hell of it, go Owls, because I'm never going to be able to say it about my Owls ever again. I don't see a path forward for Temple. So let's go FAU. Go FAU. That's my analysis there.
Listen, they're feisty. They
feisty.
Are. They believe in themselves.
Yep.
They've been uber impressive. Listen, at this stage of the game, Dan, I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen so much parity here. I wouldn't be surprised if FAU wins. But again, if you're a true believer that defense wins championships, and we've seen San Diego State has defied, I've bet against them this tournament, and they have proven me wrong. I had Creighton over them. As you know, I had Creighton coming out of that South region.
Yeah.
So it's now I'm a believer. I'm a believer in this defense. And like I said, I love their head coach.
They have such a great identity. It feels like the Aztecs have just sort of been knocking on the door for years and years and years. I mean, going back to when they had Kawhi Leonard, they knocked out Temple in 2011 in that tournament and made a nice run, I think, to the Elite Eight that year. It just feels like this program, first under Steve Fisher, and now I've just been right there. Like, you have Gonzaga in terms of the mid-majors out in the Pacific time zone, and then you have San Diego State. It just feels like this is kind of their time right now to move on and play, at least for a national championship, presumably against whoever you want to pick in the next game, which is Miami and UConn.
So that's a nice, is that your bridge? Is that your opening the door?
We call that a segue in the biz. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Listen, UConn, like I said, they just been steamrolling people, right? Yeah. Their opponents, they've beaten by 24 points, 15 points, 23 points, 28 points. So what am I doing here? What am I buying the share at? 5.5? Where are you at? 4.5? 5? What is it at?
So 5.5 is the number here, and I'll run down all the numbers for you. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Sign me up. Yep. They're the only team left that is top 11 in offense and defensive efficiency.
Yeah.
They've got the 12th best defense against the three. Again, same kind of philosophy here in regard to why I think San Diego State and that defense is going to win in advance is because they're one of the best defenses against the three. Same situation with, this Miami team. They live and die with their backcourt. They're all about, their guard play and, and scoring from the perimeter. And UConn, they're so athletic. They're so long. They can defend you in the paint. I think Omier is going to have a tough go at it. With Sonogo, and also they can defend you as well on the perimeter. So I love that. And University of Miami, their defense doesn't even rank in the top 100 in defensive efficiency. And we know that UConn has been able to do it, able to score around the rim as well as behind the arc and in the field. So it's kind of like pick your poison with them. So I'm more confident with this UConn win over Miami than I am with San Diego State beating FAU. But I'm probably that San Diego State game. I probably have more confidence in the under hitting in that matchup, again, just because of San Diego State's defense. But I love UConn here. I really do. And I'm so angry at myself that I didn't pick them to win this whole damn thing in a bracket. I'm beside myself.
There's nothing better than your competitive side coming out in a bracket that I'm not even involved in. Just you talking about, you're just talking about a bracket that I'm not even involved in, and I can feel how upset you are. I'm glad you brought up the defensive inefficiency for Miami, 104th nationally in defensive efficiency, as you mentioned. We'll run through the numbers, and they're on your screen as well. Straight up, Miami, $32 per share. That's plus 208. Connecticut, minus 233 at $69.50 per share. Again, 5.5 is the number here. UConn at $50.50 per share is the favorite. Miami plus 5.5 at 51. The total here listed at 149.5. The over's at 51. The under at 50.5. We've had some market movement actually. The over at 149 now at 52. So that's minus 111. The under at even money plus 100, 49.5. It is hard to go against UConn. No team has looked nearly as untouchable as they have. They absolutely blew out Gonzaga by, 28 points the other night. You mentioned the offensive and defensive efficiency. Nobody even touches those numbers. The path for the Canes, to me, is to just keep doing what they've been doing, which is create havoc defensively. They have won the turnover battle in all 4 games they've played in this tournament. But my lean here, because, UConn's going to win, okay? My lean here is actually towards the over. Both these teams can score, they can score. They average over 80, or nearly, I should say. Both teams average nearly 80 points per game, so this total, 149.5, implies that they're going to score around 75 each. But I like this over 149.5 again, and now it's at $52 per share, so it's minus 111. You can trade out after a big first half. I think after an initial feeling out period, right, so all the factors that you mentioned before in the previous game, Anita, new place, cavernous stadium, depth perception issues, things like that. But what has really surprised me is the ease of which UConn has been able to get to the rim. So they're not as reliant on jump shots, not as reliant on three-pointers. That adds up when you're talking about totals. And at some point, I think the Isaiah Wongs of the world are going to come around for Miami and at least score some points, even if they're coming up from a trailing position. So I do like the over there. So we have a championship game, it sounds like, Anita, of San Diego State against UConn. So we are prognosticating a little bit. We obviously wouldn't have that market right now in Sporttrade, but tell me, since we're not going to have a chance to talk to you until after Monday, which is the national championship, who you think wins?
I think UConn. Again, I just think they are head and shoulders above everyone else. I think defensively, they can match up with San Diego State. Like I said, FAU 20th in defensive efficiency, UConn 11th. So, and I think offensively, because they're so balanced, it's kind of like pick your poison, right? When it comes to what you're going to do defensively against UConn. So if San Diego State's going to concentrate on trying to, limit their bigs, okay, their perimeter offense is unstoppable. Okay, if you're going to play harder in regard to perimeter defense, okay, they can beat you inside at the rim. So I think they're just a real horrible matchup for any team, even the best in San Diego State defensively. So I'm going to go UConn here. By the way, are you going to have shares in regard to prop bets for players?
I believe the plan right now is to have some. Yes.
So by the way, in the UConn game, I like Hawkins. If you're going to have it, Hawkins over points. Right now it's at 16.5. Because I think what happens is I think University of Miami, especially Omer, they're really going to have to focus in on Sonogo. And I think it's really going to open up things for Hawkins. So I like Hawkins over 16.5 points.
I'm curious about this. I don't expect you to know the answer because I don't know the answer. Let's say Connecticut raises the national championship banner on Monday. That would mean their, fourth or fifth national championship since 2000 with 3 different head coaches. That's incredible to me, right? You have Hurley, you have Kevin Ollie, and then you'd have Jim Calhoun. I mean, absolute factory. I mean, that would just be incredible. Switching gears now, tomorrow, of course, Thursday is opening day, Major League Baseball, one of my favorite days of the entire season. Hope springs eternal, especially when you root for a baseball team that's won 2 World Series in 150 years. So this is really the only day of the year we get to celebrate. So obviously, I'll get this out of the way now. No, Anita, the Phillies will not win the World Series this year. But you did like a team to potentially come out of the desert and to really come out of nowhere to do it.
Yes, I'm all over the Arizona Diamondbacks this season. And I love playing their win total.
Let me switch the screen and then you can try to explain that to everybody.
Yeah, I love their win total over 76.5 wins. Don't sleep on them to potentially win the division. I know that sounds crazy, but this is a team. They won 74 games last year. The win total, by the way, is 76.5. That's really what turned me on to them. They've got a new pitching coach. They drafted Drew Jones, #1 prospect. I do believe that at some point in time he's going to be called up, and I think he's going to be an absolute stud and beast this season. Corbin Carroll is in the running for the National League Rookie of the Year. They've got an unbelievable lineup. They've got a lot of depth at pitching. And I think Zach Gallen will compete for the Cy Young as well. So I think they're a really, really well-balanced team. They're young. They've got a lot of athleticism. They've got a lot of depth. They've got a lot of talent. And not only, I know that we're talking right now, we're looking into this season, but watch out. This is an Arizona Diamondbacks team, Dan, that I think is going to be good for quite a while, probably for the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, their farm system is excellent. They've got a lot of guys that they have under contract for the next few years that they're not going to have to pay a lot of money, that they're going to get a ton of production from. So and they're young and they're fun. They're going to be a real fun team. If you're not a baseball enthusiast, if you're not a Yankees fan, you're not a Mets fan, this is I think this is going to be a really fun team to get behind this season and cheer for.
I love that analysis. Right now, Arizona to win the World Series is 90 cents per share. And we have 67.5 shares available. So for a grand total of $60.75, Anita, you could own 67.5 shares of the Diamondbacks to win the World Series. If they happen to do that, you would take home a profit of $6,500. Now, of course, they may not. right? So you could trade that out, hopefully for profit at any point during the Major League Baseball season. Night Owl checking in says we took FAU because his name is Night Owl. We explained Night Owl. That's not the case, but I appreciate you chiming in as you always do. We love hearing from you.
What is the what's Ohtani to win the MVP? What is that?
We don't have MVP listed yet, but I assume he's the leader in the clubhouse.
What are the Astros to win the World Series?
So the Astros are leading.
What's that share it?
Yeah, they're leading the pack right now. They are $11.50. That's plus 754. But I will tell you, I've got two here.
I would buy a lot of that, Dan.
Okay.
I'd buy a lot of that.
Now, my only thing with buying MLB futures this early is that it would tie up your bankroll for a very long time. So we posted these like in January. So me personally, I wouldn't look to benefit off of some off-season price movement because I think it's very minimal. I don't have the volume in order to really do that. But if I did, we talked about this a couple months ago when we first posted the markets, Anita. I love Atlanta this year. I just think the Braves were better than the Phillies last year. They won the NL East, which was the best division of baseball, in my humble opinion. I think they ran into an absolute buzzsaw in October, which just happens. Like that literally just happens. It's very rare that the best team in baseball wins the World Series. Now, it happened last year with Houston, but the Phillies were absolutely the fourth or fifth best team in the National League. They avoided the Dodgers. They avoided the Mets. They, again, were an absolute buzzsaw. We have a fly in the studio. An absolute buzzsaw against the Atlanta Braves. I love how deep they are. I love the rotation. They obviously have done a great job of locking up all of their main state players for the foreseeable future. I love them. Here's a question for you.
I like them winning the National League East. I have them winning the National League East over your Phillies and over New York's Mets.
Well, of course, yeah, they're absolute choke artists, so it doesn't surprise me at all. Here's a question for you. Why can't this be Toronto? Toronto's $6.50 per share to win the World Series.
I've got Toronto winning the American League East.
I love that. And there's a lot of regular season growth here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here's something that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to. And you have to know this if you're going to bet the Blue Jays this year. Specifically if you love betting overs, which most people do. So Rogers Center has been significantly changed this offseason. The wall in left field has been moved in 7 feet. The wall in left center has been moved in 2 feet. Right center has been moved in 11 feet. And right center has been moved in 16 feet. So what did Toronto do this offseason? They went out and found 3 left-handed bats to put into their lineup to become more balanced and to utilize more power to right field. And they also have George Springer, Bo Bichette, and Vlad Jr., as you mentioned. So last season, 2 teams in Major League Baseball averaged 5 runs or more per game, a number that I do think is attainable for this lineup, which again is super deep and now more balanced in a smaller ballpark that's indoors. The Dodgers won 111 games last year. The Yankees won 99. Those are the only 2 teams to average more than 5 runs per game. I think this team can do it. Give me Toronto to at least return a nice profit on my original investment.
I like it. I like Toronto. Like I said, I like Arizona. I like Atlanta. I like the Astros. I like Ohtani to win the MVP. Those are the futures bets that I'm eyeing right now. I know a lot, and you're right. A lot of people, it takes a certain individual gambler to put money down on futures bets because you're putting it down now, and we know it's a long season. You're not going to see your return until November. So there's that. But the value that you can get right now with all these teams that we're talking about, Dan, is priceless.
It's very much, especially early in the season on Sporttrade, you're basically talking about lots and lots of volume, right? You're buying a lot of shares in the hopes that a team goes up $2, $3, $4, and then you're basically cashing them out. Because, I mean, just to be honest, the ebbs and flows of a Major League Baseball season, you could have somebody go up $3, and then let's say their starting pitcher gets hurt, now he's on the IL for a month, and then they dip. So you could conceivably continuously just keep buying the ebbs and flows. Now, obviously, timing of the market is not always that easy, but that's something you could do without tying up your bankroll for an entire season, and that is something that is specific to Sporttrade that you're able to do. Okay, we've got a couple more minutes here, Anita, but I want to make sure we hit the Texas Open. We've got the Masters next week. I'll be honest, I don't have a play for the Texas Open. I'm focused on the Masters, but I know you do. My takeaway in looking at the markets that I'll pull up here real quick for the Valero, Texas rather. Ricky Fowler at $5, overpriced. One of the highest bids here on the market. He's been playing much better. It's a thin field, but he's not going to win, and I'm not going to waste any bullets. Go ahead.
Well, a few things. When handicapping this tournament, this is a warm up for the Masters. There's only 10 players that are going to be playing this weekend that have already qualified for the Masters. So keep in mind, this is a last ditch effort for all the other players outside of those 10 to try to win this tournament. And of course, they get that lucky gold ticket to go play in the Masters the following week. This is the Oak course.
By the way, Charlie's grandfather, bad grandfather, right? Like not a great grandfather. Like guy's sick, and now all of a sudden his grandchild gets a golden ticket, and now he's up. Oh please, he's faking an injury the whole time. It's unbelievable. One of the worst grandparents in literature.
Did they all really sleep in that one bed, Dan?
No.
Okay.
Guy's debilitating disease, and now he's riding the coattails of his grandson, and now all of a sudden he's fixed. It's just sorry. Go on. I digress.
Oompa. Anyway, so the metrics you want to look at here: driving accuracy. This is a Parkland style course, so a lot of trees. Putting is absolutely crucial, and they're going to be putting on Bermuda greens. Here's something interesting, Dan. 5 of the last 7 winners finish in the top 5 in putting average. So really, that's what you want to look at. Here are the guys that I would buy some shares on. JJ Spawn, okay, finished top 9 at Dell. Solid in putting and driving accuracy. He's defending his title. He won it here last year. A course that you want to use the analogy, guys who usually play good on this course or this tournament plays well here, is the Genesis. He finished tied for 33rd. He's also top 4 in scrambling this season, which he's going to need this weekend as well. So what's JJ Spawn trading at?
$2.50.
Love it.
Yeah.
Buy that. Okay. Next guy I like is Nick Taylor. Here's another thing, did not go deep into match play. Match play, these dudes played 5 rounds in 7 rounds in 5 days.
Oh, so what a dream.
I know. So I'm the fact that Nick Taylor, I was expecting him to go deep into the match play. He did not. So he's going to be fresh. He finished 2nd at Phoenix this season, tied for 10th at Valspar just a few weeks ago. Genesis finished in the top 30. His flag stick has been terrific. Top 11 in putting average. What is Nick Taylor trading at?
$1.80.
Buy that bad boy up.
Yeah, and there's a lot available.
Last but not least, Kuchar. That's right. Dude is just like avoiding grandfather time. Tied for 9th at the Dell, 8th at the Genesis, 10 for 10 in regard to cuts made on this track, 4 top 10s, 4 top 15s, and 1st in scrambling so far this season. What's Kuchar selling at?
Let's see. Kuchar is, scroll down here, and I just want to make a point very quickly about our golf product. It has gotten immeasurably better. I don't know if you were just watching as Anita was talking, but you could see the liquidity. Your previous pick, there were 275 shares available of the previous. I don't know where he is. Let's see.
Okay.
Kuchar,
right,
Kuchar,
so
you
Kuchar,
said, right?
And then 2 last ones really quick. I'm going to mention.
Yeah,
Ben
Kuchar's $3.
$3.
Yeah.
Ben Griffin has been great. He's made 5 straight cuts, tied for 14th at Arnie's place, and he's putting very well. And I'm going to mention a guy that nobody's heard of. His name is Hazuki Higo. Okay. He's from Japan, first earnings leader last season on his tour, 3 top 15s in his last 3 tournaments, tied for 4th in India back in February. And this style course really fits well to the courses that he plays in Japan. Higo, Higo, long shot, long play. He's probably trading for a penny on Sporttrade, just FYI.
I can tell you Ben Griffin, $1.60. And if you can see on your screen, again, we have completely improved the golf product here. Swing by swing, you're now seeing updates in pricing. 285 shares available of Ben Griffin. If he were to win, Anita, you would take home $27,000 of profit on Ben Griffin. And that's just, anybody of a similar price.
10%.
Yeah, finder's fee.
Anita Marks.
Yep.
Send a Sporttrade. Dan will Venmo me.
Yeah, I totally Venmo you the 10% of the $27,000. You don't even have to worry about it. Don't check up on me though. Before we go, Anita, we have some NBA plays this evening that we like.
We do. 3 quick ones for you. The Mavs going against the 76ers. I love the 76ers here, right? Like the Mavs, they're just a complete mess. Dan, marinating this for a minute. They're
Yeah.
4
Oh, I will.
with Luka and Kyrie
Yep.
playing together.
They don't play
4-8.
defense.
How'd that trade work out for you? Their
They've-
defense is absolutely
Yeah.
abysmal. They live and die by the three. They're last in rebounding. So
They don't rebound. They don't
76ers
block shots. They don't play defense. Yeah, they're bad.
Oh, it's
They're bad.
horrible. So you listen, this is your team, right? 76ers. So I'm expecting Embiid to play tonight. You know, he chickened out against Jokic the other night. Don't get me started. The
That's
76ers
not
team,
fair.
great at home, 22-14-1 against the spread. Great defense. And like I said, one of the best defenses against the three. So I do like the 76ers. You got prop bets in the Lakers Bulls game, by the way, because I like AD under 25.5 points.
I will tell you as I look that up, we'll stick right there. We don't have that specific game, no. But we do have a prop bet on Embiid, who I think will play today. Here's my prop bet, and I can tell you it's from a very trusted source who I was talking to in the lunch line of the deli attached to Sporttrade's office, who says James Harden will play tonight. Very trusted source. I trust this person with my basketball betting. James Harden in. I think that also means Joel Embiid in. His over right now is 34.5 on Sporttrade, which may sound like a lot, but he's been absolutely crushing it. As we mentioned, Dallas is a horrible matchup for their defense against Joel Embiid. They don't rebound. They don't block shots. They don't play any defense. Over 34.5 right now. When I wrote this out, was 49.50, and we've seen a ton of action on it. So I had it at 49.50 is where I got it. It's now at 56, which is minus 130. So this went from basically even money plus 100 to now minus 130. Joel Embiid over 34.5. That must mean he's announced that he's in tonight. Otherwise, I don't know why that would have gone up so much. But that's my play this evening.
So you watched Ted Lasso?
Of course I watched Ted Lasso.
So did you watch this last episode?
The one that came out today? Wednesdays they
I
come
didn't
out.
know. No, the one where, you know, she's trying to recruit the star soccer player.
Yes, I did see
Okay,
it.
and her
Yes.
assistant says to her, "Well, I heard from my kid's grandmother's manicurist's
Of course.
girlfriend."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Really? You heard from the guy at the deli in the line?
Now,
who cuts
hold
your
on.
meat?
I redacted the pronoun. You're assuming it was a man. I'm just saying a
I'm sorry.
trusted
That
deli
person
source.
at the deli who cuts your meat, who dated your sister, that's who you heard it from? Okay, Dan. All right.
Take the
Hey,
over.
Last one for you before I go, and this is my favorite bet tonight, and that's Memphis. I'm all over them against the Clippers. Ja Morant, I do expect him to be back, hence why I'm wearing the Ja Morant t-shirt tonight. Even without him, this team was won 7 of 8. They're unstoppable at home, 22-15-1 against the spread. Meanwhile, the Clippers, no PG. Morris is out. Powell, even if he does play, he's playing with a banged up shoulder. Soft schedule last month. Now they're hitting reality. Westbrook, I'd like him as well. Not sure if you have this in prop bets, but over turnovers. Memphis, second best team in forcing turnovers. And Westbrook is just a complete mess in regard to turnover ratio. So this is my favorite play. What is Memphis trading at right now?
Let me pull it back up. I took it off our screen.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I threw you off with my Ted Lasso.
That's all
reference.
right. That's okay. I'm going to find it real fast. Memphis is at, let's see. Oh, I lost my connection. My Wi-Fi is no longer working. That's how you end a show. Let's see. Memphis is 48.5 plus 104 at home against the Clippers. So there you go.
That's
Plus
my favorite,
money.
That's my favorite play tonight.
Plus
Dan,
money.
you rock. NBA, golf, NCAA, Major League Baseball futures. Dude, all in 36 minutes.
We got through a lot. Anita Marks, thank you as always. We will see you again next week. We talk to you every single week. Again, make sure you're checking out Battle Bets going on right here on this feed tomorrow as well. We will catch you after the National Championship, which we'll recap it all. Thanks for watching.